G'day guys, Carolyn here from Mama Beyond Depression. Today I really want to talk to you about your mother line and the ways that we can look back down our mother line to our mother, our grandmother, our great-grandmother, etc., and then forward down our mother line, if you have girls, to your daughter or daughters, and how we can, as mamas, latch onto that mother line and use that as a point of blame for our depression. So I'm going to share with you first a personal story. When I was in the midst of the worst parts of my depression, I would find myself quite often ruminating over the effects that my mum's behaviour towards me had on my life, and therefore on the depression that I subsequently developed. And so, I was in a bad place, obviously, feeling pretty low, well, very low, to be honest, overwhelmed a lot of the time, not sleeping properly, new baby. My thought patterns weren't particularly positive at the best of times. And so, that became quite a ripe, fertile ground for feelings of blame to come up. And I justified those feelings of blame by telling myself that I was really trying to pinpoint the cause of my depression so that I could then do something about it. But I think really that was just my ego a bit out of control, because in reality, thinking that my mother or her mother or even my daughter was to blame for my depression, it's not helpful for anyone. It wasn't helpful for my feelings, because it led to mistrust in my childhood, and that then undermined a whole lot of things that I was holding strong and stable, and it made a shaky situation even more shaky. It shook my foundations. And then on top of that, it pushed my mum away, and it meant that she wasn't able to help me as much as she would have liked, and certainly not as much as I needed her to help me in the midst of my depression. And so my post this week for you is really focusing on the importance, and this is true whether you are in the middle of depression at the moment, whether you're on medication, whether you're not, or whether you feel like you've moved past your depression but are still holding on to some negative thoughts about it from the past. My point today is to give you 3 good reasons why you need to heal that mother line, no matter where you're at in your journey with depression. So my first reason is that stories of blame towards our mothers in particular, but also their mothers and your daughters, are not likely to be accurate. Firstly, your memories are from a completely separate time when you were a child and you're now an adult, and so your perceptions of things change over time. Secondly, because if you're in the middle of depression, your perception of things is not accurate. I'll say that again. If you're in the middle of depression, it's unlikely that you're making accurate judgments about the people around you and about events that have happened in the past. And so chances are that what you remember from those events back before are not likely to be accurate anyway, and so they're not something to be relied upon. The second reason why it's important to heal your mother line is that vibrationally it's much warmer and more loving and a higher vibration to be thinking positive thoughts about your mother, because so much of your mother resides in you and has been carried forward into your life and is born within you, so that by judging them, you're of course judging yourself. And I think this is so much more true with our mothers than it might be for any other person in our life, because their body gave rise to our body. The connection that we have with our mama is so strong that if we start to blame her, then ultimately we're blaming ourselves. And that lowers your vibrations even further, which of course is not what you need in the middle of depression or at any time in your life. So extremely important that if you haven't thought about this before, that working really hard to believe positively about the way you were brought up by your mum, even if some of the actions might not have been that positive, believe that she was coming from a place of love and doing the best that she could do in her situation. That completely makes your foundations rock solid, and it completely gives you somewhere to move forward from, rather than everything just being shaky and numb and overwhelming. So 2 really good reasons to heal your mother line. And the third one, of course, that our mothers can be a great help to us now. And so by reaching out to them in the present time and saying, you know, I didn't feel that great perhaps as a kid, but I can see that you were doing your best, opening that conversation and leading forward with your heart so that she knows that you do love her and you recognise what she did for you and what she can do for you now, means that she's much more able to help you in the now and much more able to help you shift yourself forward to where you want to be, that happier, more passionate, more purposeful place. So 3 really good reasons that I'm coming to you today with for healing your mother line, so that together you can shift your way forward with your depression or mental illness or anxiety or chronic illness. Whatever it is that you have, heal it with your mum and her mum, and so that you can heal with your daughters, and then you can all shift forward together because you're all one. Right? Blessings to you. Talk to you soon.